Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here with my spoiler discussion video for Power Rangers Dino Fury Season 2, Episodes 14 and 15. The international spoilers are rolling in again, and we should be getting 2 episodes each weekend until the finale, basically just up until we get it here in the US. They did air 12 and 13 last week, but I already covered those when some of the international spoilers squeaked out. But so I'm just going to be talking about the main plot points, the major reveals, my thoughts on them. When the episodes hit here in the 29th for Netflix, I'm going to watch all of them and do a more in-depth review. So if you're interested in that, on my more in-depth thoughts on things and, in-depth thoughts on how the episodes actually play as episodes, look forward to that. But today I'm just going to be discussing the major reveals and my thoughts on them, kind of without the context of getting to digest the episode like as a form of an episode. Anyway, episode 14, a rather quick summary. I'm going to kind of gloss over it just because there are some big things that happen, but it's kind of more feeling like a place setting for the major reveals from 15. Effectively, 12 and 13, at least I think it was both of them, led us into Zedd searching for Rafkon along with the Rangers. In episode 14, they find Rafkon, they arrive, it's deserted, Zedd follows them there, he kind of plays some tricks on them where he kind of runs away in battle and then follows them so that he can find the Sporix machine that's there, because if you don't remember, it was the Rafkonians that built the Sporix, and then they end up getting in a fight with Zedd again, and Zato is injured and he's taken to the ship or the Megazord or wherever the hell they are, and then the Green Morphin Master shows up for a cliffhanger and says everything's going to be fine. One little note detail there from that was someone posted a screenshot of Zedd using his binocular vision, like he used to use when he was observing Earth to spy on the Dino Charge, or the Dino Fury Rangers. The Dino Charge Rangers, he's like, wonder what they're up to on Earth 2. Or Earth 3, or whatever. Anyway, I thought that was a nice little detail, kind of a nice little deeper cut. Like, it's a little bit fan service, but it's also something kind of cool, because it's more than just Zedd. It's kind of like something you'd remember if you watch the show a lot. Anyway, episode 15 is a lot bigger of an episode, which is kind of funny, because it actually seems to be the clip show for the season, which, to be fair, they've gotten a lot better at clip shows in recent years. They've gone from the straightforward stuff from Samurai and Megaforce to becoming more entertaining as well as more vital to the plot, like with something like this, Zedd's return, also the Beast Morphers villain episode. And this sounds like it was one of the best uses of it, because while it's clip show format-esque, it has some big reveals in it. Like when we first saw the description, it seemed like they were going to be making the Green Morphin Masters case, and I thought they were just going to show clips from how the Morphin Masters helped the Rangers in the series. But it actually recontextualizes some things from the larger series. So what ends up happening is after Zato is hurt, the Morphin Master gifts them what I think is the Master Saber and the Master Mode power-up, the capey one, to use a technical term. And then after that, and after the Rangers are able to use it, the other Morphin Masters show up and say, the Green Morphin Master is in trouble, ooh, because the Morphin Masters aren't supposed to involve themselves, and the Rangers say, well, you involved yourselves before. Remember, we did all that stuff about how you made the Energems. And they basically say, we haven't involved ourselves because we were being hunted. There used to be a lot more of us. So I think that's really cool, because some purists are going to get upset for me saying this, and it may have been unintentional, but it does line up with the comic, which is cool, because in the comic there is shown to be more than 6 Morphin Masters, and also there was a significant part where the Morphin Masters refused to get involved. So I like that that lines up, and it gives a reason. Both the show and the comic could contradict this later, but for now, I like that it lines up, and it also does give an explanation if you don't read the comic of, if they're not interfering, why did they make the powers before? And that's the reason given. And then effectively, they give case for, why the Green Morphin Master interfering has been helpful. And it recontextualizes a lot of things. Now, I might miss a couple things, but it recontextualizes Legendary Battle, where I guess it infers that she was responsible for the new powers being there, and I guess maybe, presumably, some Rangers getting their powers back. Steel being revived and turning into a less cool version of Steel, so she's who to blame. Jason's involvement in Beast Morphers, presumably, when the coin came out, but also how the other Dino Rangers arrived through a portal. I still question why Jason needed that coin, because he technically should have had one, because last we saw him, he was fully powered and fine, even though we didn't know why. Regardless, maybe it's a special coin that has Dino transporting powers. Nonetheless, though, it kind of recontextualizes these things as the Green Morphin Master interfering and helping and saving Ranger lives as well as lives because she helped the Rangers be there in a time of need. It's kind of like a sequel to the fact that we got an explanation for the Energems and the Nexus Prism, except we're explaining kind of lore things like Megaforce and all that stuff. So now we know why Jake turned from Black Ranger to Green Ranger, and there's a simple explanation for that. It was in honor of the Green Morphin Master, who is the answer to all of these questions. See, it was the Green Morphin Master all along. She is Agatha, Half-Life 3 confirmed. I think that's super cool. And then this leads to a final confrontation with Zedd. I guess Zedd and the Void family temporarily make a truce, but the Void characters run off at some point. And the Rangers, it seems like they're unable to best Zedd, and then ultimately the Green Morphin Master makes a sacrifice and traps them both in this crystal-y thing. But the Green Morphin Master is freed ultimately when the other Morphin Masters decide she's a hero and not a villain. And then Zedd is still trapped in this crystal, and it's a very action figure-y looking thing. And throwback to the mmpr Season 3 Ultrazords. Anyway, Zedd is still in the crystal, and he gets sent to a planet far away, so definitely still leaves him on the board, potentially for Cosmic Fury or the future in some point. Other little details, I guess Rafkon gets exploded, so there's just kind of a bit about Zato finding his home in wherever the hell the town's name is, Pine Ridge or whatever it's called. We do know the Rafkonians are alive from future episode descriptions where they arrive and are like, humans are awful. I'm like, are we done with this motivation? We know humans are awful. Let's accept it. Move on. Rafkonians are alive. So presumably they either recolonized somewhere or they exist on spaceships or a space station or some combination of both. But Rafkon done explodes. Also, I almost forgot that Scrozzle is on the board right now because he ended up with Lord Zedd when he got his staff. And apparently he makes a mention of, like, you know, something like, oh, Zedd, you're so great, don't tell Evox I said that. Some people think that might mean Evox is still alive. It's not impossible, given what's happened, Evox/Vengix, Vengevox, I don't know, Evengix, regardless of my nonsense naming. It could have just been an offhand comment for fun. Like, it could have just been, like, something that's supposed to be funny, and that might not mean anything. But given that we're heading into an anniversary season, who knows? Maybe we'll see Vengix again. I don't know. But I just thought that was worth noting. And he, like, escapes. So he's not destroyed, as far as I know, in this battle with the Morphin Masters and Zedd. So Scrozzle is still on the board. The, you know, status of Vengix, TBD, but Scrozzle is still on the board. Yeah, this sounds super exciting. This is one of my favorite things about Dino Fury is the lore beats. It's both like an expansion on the lore and also kind of retroactively explaining things. It's kind of neat the way, obviously this wasn't planned and intentional in terms of the overall plan, but the way they've been connecting things with Beast Morphers and Dino Charge, and then now this series retroactively explaining stuff, it kind of makes this whole little mini era between Dino Charge and now feel more connected, which is really cool. Some people get mad and call it lazy, but you have to remember that, like, when these other things were made, these other powers, these other storylines that had a lack of explanation, at the time there was different teams in charge, different requirements and restrictions in charge. So now they are in this position where they have less restrictions, they have a different team in charge, and they have the ability to go back and explain these things. This isn't something different from any other form of TV or comic or anything like that. So I don't mind it at all. I think it's really cool. It makes it feel more connected to Grander Ranger lore, and they're even explaining stuff I didn't need an explanation for, and I think that's really cool. I'm really digging it. As far as setting up things for Cosmic Fury, some people mentioned, like, the way they showed old Rafkon looks like a Q Ranger planet. I think that might be a stretch. I feel like people are wanting Q Rangers so hard, they're trying so hard to make it happen, I almost don't want it to happen. And then there was some, I guess, alluding to or focus on crystal-based Ranger powers, which made some people think Kara Major. I don't know. All that could just be speculation, and you can sort of read into anything. As far as Lord Zedd being on the board, it's really funny because I just made a video saying how, it's about to come out, how I don't want to see him be a villain in Cosmic Fury, but I get a feeling he might come back. I have mixed thoughts on it. I wanted him to be done here. If he does come back, and I think he probably might, I hope he's not the big bad. Like, I hope their call to action going into Cosmic Fury Season 3 is not Lord Zedd's free. I hope he's just another sub-storyline they run into. But regardless, this sounds pretty awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Seems like the best use of the clip show-esque format so far. Looking forward to seeing more details from the remaining episodes, and I'll keep you guys updated. And as I said, I will be covering full thought details on these episodes in review form when they hit Netflix on the 29th. But until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.